Welcome to Quotes YouTube, advice from the elderly. A place to share valuable life lessons from previous generations. Here, we honor the wisdom and rich life experiences accumulated over the years. Listen, learn, and join us in passing on these precious values to future generations. Subscribe to never miss out on useful videos, where wisdom and life experiences are honored. 90% of you are ignoring these life lessons, without knowing how much it helps you self-reliance and action. Being alone is powerful. It makes you realize that you need yourself more. We generate fears while we sit, but we overcome them by action. If you want to make the wrong decision, ask everyone. Don't look back, you are not going that way. If people took back the pain they caused you, you'd lose the strength you gained. Life will test you just before it blesses you. If you focus on the hurt, you will continue to suffer. If you focus on the lesson, you will continue to grow. Perspective and growth. The magic you are looking for is in the work you're avoiding. You can either be a negative or positive person in life, but only one will get you somewhere. Never expose your next step, just take the step. A fish with a closed mouth never gets caught. The people who say you can't and you won't are usually the ones scared that you will. Be careful how you talk to yourself because you are listening. Stop thinking you're doing it all wrong. Your path doesn't look like anybody else's because it can't, shouldn't, and won't. Work and discipline. If it keeps you happy, keep it quiet. The family you create is more important than the family you come from. The more you know yourself, the less you need others' approval. Just because the past didn't turn out like you wanted it to doesn't mean your future can't be better than you ever imagined. Do not allow small minds to convince you that your dreams are too big. When you try to please everybody, you almost always please nobody. We cannot become what we want by remaining what we are. Self-talk and self-awareness. The truth is everyone is going to hurt you. You just have to find the ones worth suffering for. If you find yourself repeatedly questioning whether or not something is right for you, the answer is usually no. Accept both compliments and criticism. It takes both sun and rain for a tree to grow. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. Don't let new wisdom lead you to condemn yourself over old struggles. Bad habits are like a comfortable bed, easy to get into but hard to get out of. In the end, we only regret the chances we didn't take, the relationships we were too afraid to have, and the decisions we waited too long to make. Waiting for change while not doing anything for it is like waiting for the train at a bus stop. By 3 methods we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is noblest. Second, by imitation, which is easiest, and third, by experience, which is the bitterest. Don't let other people's opinions drown out your inner voice. Relationships and boundaries. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. Respect yourself because people can see if you don't. It's impossible to make everyone happy, and trying to do so will only lead to frustration and disappointment. Stay away from people who can't see any wrong in their actions but see every wrong in yours. Focus on the step in front of you, not the whole staircase. Be brave enough to be bad at something new. Your thoughts are like boomerangs. What you pass along to others is what will come back to you. Listen to the people who tell you what you don't want to hear. The longer you entertain what's not for you, the longer you postpone what is. The cost of procrastination is the life you could have lived. Don't depend too much on anyone in this world because even your own shadow leaves you when you are in darkness. You can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself first. It is better to act and repent than not to act and regret. Excuses make today easy but tomorrow harder. Discipline makes today hard but tomorrow easier. If you are a giver, know your limits because takers don't have any. If you don't clean up what's in your head, you'll drop what's in your hands. Never share your problems with friends before finding a solution. No matter how challenging it is, you don't lack focus, not potential. You lack consistency, not skill. You lack strategy, not resources. You lack discipline, not capability. Your future is in your hands and the doubt is in your head. Everyone wants to skip the struggle, not knowing that's where character is built. Self-pity is dangerous. Stay away from it. Vision without execution is just a hallucination. Making too many efforts to forget someone is remembering them all the time. Never let a lack of support stop you from achieving your goal. Don't be afraid of losing people. Be afraid of losing yourself by trying to please everyone around you. Putting off until tomorrow is your weakness. Once you are mature, you will realize that silence is more powerful than proving your point. A lack of boundaries invites a lack of respect. Work for it more than you talk about it. Stop choosing what's not choosing. You learn to be okay with not being invited, included, or considered. It won't happen overnight, but if you quit, it won't happen at all. Work at your job and make a living. Work on yourself and make a fortune. The hardest part is at the beginning of the journey. The rocket loses 90% of its fuel during takeoff. Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. Don't be upset by the result you didn't get from the work you didn't do. The journey of your success will always begin with the small step of taking a chance. Be alone until you're valued. By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. The things you say about others say a lot about you. Don't be afraid to start over again. This time you're not starting from scratch, you're starting from experience. It's not the future that's hazy, it's your thoughts about it. Stop expecting life to be fair. Start expecting yourself to be a better player capable of handling what life teaches you. Be a good person, but don't waste time proving it. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's impossible. The best way to keep one's word is not to give it. Expect little from people, expect a lot from yourself. That's the secret of a happy life. You can often regret your words, but you will never regret your silence. Don't ever let the same people disappoint you twice. Nothing is particularly hard if you divide it into small jobs. One today is worth to tomorrow's. Try not to always be motivated. Learn to always be disciplined. The quickest way to succeed is to start now and figure it out as you go. You can't learn to drive in a parked car. You make the best decisions when in pain, because the fear of experiencing the same pain again is the strongest motivator. What we do during our working hours determines what we have. What we do in our leisure hours determines who we are. If you treat an individual as he is, he will remain how he is. But if you treat him as he could be, he will become what he should be. Distance yourself from people that bring out the person you're not trying to be anymore. Embrace solitude as a time for reflection and self-discovery. Forgive your old self. You changed many of the people you told your secret to have already told it to others. Stop trying to skip the struggle. That's where character is built. If you define the problem correctly, you almost have the solution. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. The true test of a man's character is what he does when no one is watching. The people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind. You can accept the apology, but you have to remove the trust. You're very hard to control when you're healthy, very hard to manipulate when you're clear, very hard to influence when you're sovereign. It takes a long time to realize how truly miserable you are, and even longer to realize it doesn't have to be that way. Everyone you love in your life should be a safe space, not more stress that makes you worrying. In most instances, obstacles are the way you are more defined by what comes out of your mouth than what goes in it. Speech gives us the power to create or destroy. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Surround yourself with only people who are going to lift you higher. Where fear ends, strength begins. The first step to getting anywhere is deciding you're not willing to stay where you are. Obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off the goal. Watch out, you'll never know the true value of the moment until it becomes a memory. Just because a thought got your attention doesn't mean it deserves your attention. Be around people who feed your soul, not eat it. If you want the present to be different from the past, study the past. The key to happiness is letting each situation be what it is instead of what you think it should be. When writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. The things you keep inside you weigh you down. What to speak is knowledge, when to speak is intelligence. If you need inspiration, don't do it. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become. Find something you love, something you can lean on, something that would keep you going. You need something to fall back on when you get depressed. Accept that you are not important to some people and move on. Every time you are rejected for something good, you are redirected to something better. Action breeds more clarity than thought, so you can't think your way into a new life. You have to act your way into one. You can make all the mistakes you want, just don't make the same one twice. It's okay if you don't know how to move on. Start with something easier like not going back. Sometimes you just need to be a bit selfish. Put yourself first and think about what is best for you. Learn to see people for what they are, not what you want them to be. Be humble enough to know you aren't better than anyone else. We are the average of the people we spend time with. Surround yourself with good people to be a good person. Don't expect to see a change if you don't make one. People will walk in and out of your life, and those you least expect will become past remembrances of a temporary time you once thought was permanent. You train people how to treat you, unconsciously or not. The point of the argument is not to defeat each other but to understand each other. If it scares you, it might be worth doing from experience. The more responsibility you take, the more you empower yourself to actually do something about that pain. Your friends and family do not always know what is best for you. Loneliness is the price you pay when you start to improve yourself. Don't take people for granted. You never know when they could be gone. You never know how much they mean to you until they're gone. Characterize people by their actions and you will never be fooled by their words. When someone shows you their true colors, believe them. You can choose a happy, conventional, and stress-free life, or you can choose a very interesting but more difficult and meaningful life. A man must be big enough to admit his mistakes, smart enough to profit from them, and strong enough to correct them. When you blame someone else for your problems, you're giving them power over you. You're allowing them to define and dictate your happiness and well-being. People start hating you when they cannot control you. Forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know at the time. When you start doing things that you're not qualified to do, be smart enough to ask for advice but be wise enough to know who to seek it from. With time, the more wins with fear you accumulate, the more fearless you will become. Never make someone a priority who only makes you an option. Whoever fights can lose, whoever doesn't fight has already lost. The only way to feel better about yourself is to do things worth feeling good about. A lot of things broke your heart but fixed your vision. Never deny yourself for what you deserve, you always exchange something for something. Weak people revenge, strong people forgive, intelligent people ignore. We are defined by what we give up, what we sacrifice, and what we reject. You are merely a reflection of the preferences and demands of the people around you. If you don't decide who you are, other people will decide for you. You grow as much as the amount of truth you're willing to accept about yourself without running away. There's always time, the only question is how long you will wait. Be patient and trust the process. You can't always help. Sometimes you will watch people you love make terrible decisions despite the advice you give them. Envy is a waste of time. You already have all you need. Sometimes the world is trying to tell you who you are, but if you don't stop to reflect and listen, you'll never be able to hear. Enjoy every bit of your life to the fullest. Your compromises and sacrifices will be rewarded. An apology without change is just a manipulation. You don't really know anyone until you know you won't have to change. Just because you miss them doesn't mean you need them back in your life. The cost of procrastination is the life you could have lived. Be careful who you share your weaknesses with. Some people can't wait for the opportunity to use them against you. In solitude, the mind gains strength and learns to lean upon itself. Sooner or later, a person who wears two faces forgets which one is real. What you allow is what will continue. Your true friends become apparent when you're at your toughest times of your life. These times will make you wise, mature, and fearless. Some people only care about you if you are doing something for them. When you start seeing your worth, you'll find it harder to stay around people who don't. The truth is that maturing is realizing that a relationship can always work out, no matter the situation. One wrong step can change everything. Don't lie, don't cheat, be honest, and be loyal. Never take someone's feelings for granted. You never know how much they mean to you until they're gone. Between being right and being kind, choose kind. Don't take criticism from anyone you wouldn't take advice from. When you're working for someone else's dream, you sacrifice your own. A person who doesn't have a life of their own will always try to create drama in yours. You can't lose what you never had, you can't keep what's not yours, and you can't hold on to some things that don't want to stay. Life always offers you a second chance. It's called tomorrow. Most people will deceive you.